Good, ladies and gents. So the ninth dimension. Um, Getting a lot of questions about the ninth dimension, so this might be a faster way to just address it. So I'll do my best. Like I said, my I barely have any research on the ninth dimension, truthfully, as far as like notes that I've taken. And I'm just one scientist. So, of course, if all scientists are technically wrong, then one scientist is going to be laughably incorrect. But let's get into it. The ninth dimension is the dimension after the eighth. No, but also specifically, let's start at what we mean by a dimension, right? So in the hypothesis that I'm developing, dimensions are, of course, yes, measurements. You got height, width, length. That's our three dimensions, X, Y, Z. Of course, there's zero dimension. There's a point. Now, in my hypothesis, every dimensions are very correlated with fields. So we have four fundamental forces currently, in the most popular or the most accepted in the theories of science right now. And so those four fundamental forces, we also kind of have four dimensions. But anyway, those forces are, the strong force. Well, we have more than four forces, but they say four fundamental forces. The strong force, the weak force, the electromagnetic force. What am I missing? Strong, weak, electromagnetic. Is it three fundamental forces? Anyway, I must be missing something. Strong, weak. There's also There's three fundamental forces. Oh, now I want to stop the video and check, but I'm not gonna do that right now. So let's just keep going with it. So I also associate different forces and the different fields to different dimensions, right? So, and what is a force? A force is something that we know, acts on our universe, right? So it's like the electromagnetic force. We know that it's interesting. I can't remember what the other force is. Anyway, the electromagnetic force is what is mediated by photons, and I guess it carries energy. Photons. So it's like photon can jump out of something and it changes direction. I don't know everything. Just one scientist. But then you have the weak force, which lets particles decay or move through dimensions, really, because we say decay, but it also clearly lets higher energy at some point, during the beginning of the Big Bang. Because I would imagine, you would have there's this release of power into everything, right? It starts as what we call an infinitesimal point, which, whatever. But yeah, I get it. And then bursts out, and then it cools. I use cools. Spreads out, but then I guess that's kind of a decay. So maybe everything was like a super ultra particle before, and then it decays into what we call regular matter, and it's continuing to decay slowly. Anyway, weak force, strong force holds protons and things together. I've talked for a very long time and not gotten into the ninth dimension. So what is then the ninth dimension? What field am I saying think that it's connected to in my hypothesis. And so that kind of, I hope, gives enough background to really get into what I'm saying when I say the ninth dimension. And I think the force of the ninth dimension and some of the aspects related to it. I'll just give you some of the research that I can remember right now. But I'm thinking that, let me jump forward a little bit better. I want to try to give a good explanation. That's why I'm going over all this stuff. If we think about Earth, one of the things my hypothesis says, the reason why Earth is a step ahead and able to carry life, because it's like, there's a paradox that says, why is there not more life in the universe? And I think we're really taking for granted how skewed of a calculation that would be. Like there should literally be, if it's not that difficult, there should literally be tons of other life that we should, I kind of already detected, at least in our galaxy. So we get into, okay, why is the Earth so unique? So my hypothesis, the reason why is because we're at not just the perfect point in our universe to not get smashed with asteroids, which might be related also to something on I don't know. Me, hypothetically, I could even see how dark matter somehow, arranges that. Like, we can't conceive of it, but maybe, there's something there. And then maybe there's also some sort of other forces that allowed things to take place, because if we say it just happened, that it's explainable fully in the first 3 dimensions or through the fundamental forces that we have right now, I don't know. I mean, you could say that, but you would just be guessing. So maybe there are more forces that are pushing these things into being. So gravity obviously is one of them that allows things, matter to come together, and for we can even have molecules. You know what I mean? And a bunch of elements that we wouldn't even have without gravity. A bunch of, and then, perhaps there is a quantum force, which allows for there to be galaxies, which allows for them to be solar systems, allows for a lot of different things, but definitely, solar systems, which we need to be orbiting a sun. And then maybe there is also a 7th dimension. So it's like we're not just moving through these galaxies, through some sort of like multiplied, 3-body problem of everything just being unstable all the time. Maybe there is something, even a weaker force than even dark matter or whatever's causing dark matter that causes orbits. And then let's continue. What else do we need in order to get something where we get our planet? Maybe there's another force, 8th dimension, in my hypothesis, that allows for fusion to take place, which again allows for a lot of elements to take place. Because gravity's not enough. Fusion didn't happen. And just one scientist, so obviously there's so much research to look in and say, hey, by itself, can we fully explain why fusion takes place just through the math that we already have? And sometimes, I'm right. Of course, I'm expecting to be wrong. This is just a hypothesis, because sometimes as human beings, we can't fathom the scale of certain stuff, right? So we say, oh, the only way that would happen is if that thing was 70 trillion times bigger than it is. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is 70 trillion times bigger than you think it is. 70 trillion times bigger than you think it is. That seems like it's big to you. It's just because you're so small. We're tiny. I mean, we're big compared to atoms. We're huge, compared to atoms. Ridiculously huge compared to the quantum, what we call, I guess the quantum field or whatever, or quantum states. Or anyway, quantum particles. I don't know what you call it. But anyway, so that's up to 8th dimension we're talking about. So maybe there's a force, and we only think about it maybe as fusion, but maybe in even weaker context, which would be almost inconceivable for us. It also allows for certain things like the atmosphere. And so that's what I'm getting to in my hypothesis. Fusion is one of the fusion could be the name of the force, but maybe it also causes other things like atmospheres, and then I have other things, which I'm going to have ready. And then on my website, tempology.project4.tv, if you want to check out my dimensional matrix, I've already edited it, so the version that's published is already old, but whatever. And now we're at the 9th. So we already have an atmosphere. We already have fusion energy coming to us from the sun, heating stuff up, but not killing us because of our atmosphere. And now we get to maybe also there's something else. And so I associate the 9th dimension with maybe there's some type of force that allows for our Earth's crust. And then I also I said Earth's crust, by the way. I don't know, my voice kind of dipped out when I said it. But the Earth's crust. And maybe there is, that force is also related to entanglement. And maybe there's something, and so I'm almost saying that maybe what we call our tectonic plates are actually extremely loosely entangled. Extremely loosely entangled. And so other things that would be caused in the 9th dimension could be extrapolated. The core idea, I think, especially of entanglement, is really interesting to me. And even though, of course, entanglement, you would think, because that's associated with the 6th dimension and quantum, because that's where we see it. I think that might just be an easier place to see it in the 6th dimension, because that's kind of or quantum, because that's that's where the newest place we're looking, and it might be too weak of an effect to perceive on any other scale, but could very, very, in extremely weak application, cause on our planet, which is huge, get a really tiny force on such a huge planet, allows for tectonic plates and the movement therein, and various other things with entanglement. Even, entanglement is very interesting as far as like what information it may be passing on, right? I think, and what it means for sync, what sync means. SYNC. Anyway, that's the tip. I might do another 9th dimensional video soon, but I just one scientist, and I don't have. It's gonna take time to progress, but I thank you so much for staying tuned. Shout out to all the hoverheads. If you hadn't heard about the 8 competition, jump in the Discord link in the bio. Starting a competition where there's going to be 8 teams, 8 scientists competing head-to-head. Each of them has a team of a skateboarder, a filmmaker, and artist, and they have to make the best concept. Best concept wins a cash prize. We're still in development, still putting all the rules together, but we're going to pick the 8 scientists first. So if you think you have an idea that could be the kernel of a great concept, we're going to see what the best one is amongst all the hoverheads. So, and the hoverheads are going to vote too. So thank you so much for checking it out. Everybody coming over to Instagram. It's a party over there too. YouTube. So awesome. Appreciate it. Have a blessed week. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want you to do. No, I mean, you all have just been so cool, and I try to go live so that we keep the hoverheads growing and stuff like that. And honestly, I learned so much. There's a variety, a spectrum of people who come in here. Of course, a lot of it is tomfoolery. But who said you're not supposed to have fun in life? All right, that's it for me right now. Kenyo, hoverheads out.